make sure to have all of those terms because whichever platform or whichever legal weapon that you're going to use, or even a lawyer that you're going to hire, we're all going to ask you the same thing, that what are your terms, So first step is always to have those things. And then you have these other avenues that you could always explore for stolen content to get that removed.
Hey guys, welcome to the Course and Funnels podcast. I'm here with Amira from A Self Guru, who's going to talk all things legal, all things course protection, everything down the legal side of course creation. So Amira, welcome to the podcast. Super excited to have you on.
Thank you so much for the welcome. I'm really excited to be here.
Great to have you here. So obviously, I did a rough intro of the legal side of things, but maybe you could elaborate a little bit more. Tell us a bit about yourself, what you've been doing, what you're doing right now in terms of helping course creators and all that stuff.
Absolutely. So, hi everyone. My name is Amira, and I'm the business lawyer, blogger, and entrepreneur behind A Self Guru, the company where we help entrepreneurs legally protect themselves, either by working with me one-on-one or by simply downloading my done-for-you legal templates. So I became a lawyer after, unfortunately, watching my own dad's business get sued. So that's why you will hear me talk about the legal stuff so passionately, because I have experienced the loss and the devastation and the nightmare of fighting a lawsuit firsthand when my own dad got sued. And that was really a very devastating experience, to say the least, but also changed me for the better, in the sense that I've learned that this is my true calling, that I wanted to help business owners and other entrepreneurs from making the same legal mistakes that, for example, my dad did. So after working as a lawyer for over a decade, one-on-one in the traditional sense, I decided that, I want to take my legal and business expertise into the online space, because there's so many entrepreneurs that need legal help. So that's where A Self Guru was born. And now we have legal templates, we have a whole legal store, and then we also have services where you work with me one-on-one for any specific legal help that is tailored to your business. So that's me in a nutshell.
Cool. Love it. Well, there's a thousand things to jump in, but I think the origin story there is amazing. It's like something out of a movie, or like a superhero movie. You're fighting against all the bad guys using the law. It's like very, very cool. I want to kind of have like almost two parts of the interview. Number one, actually on the legal side of online courses, so we can speak about things like copyright and protection, but also actually speak about your info product business, because even you have a really, really unique model, unlike most lawyers. But obviously you're doing the one-to-one kind of higher ticket stuff, but also you're selling templates and digital products and info products and generating revenue that way. So from a course creation or kind of like a coaching perspective online, first of all, I guess, what are the biggest legal mistakes you see most entrepreneurs making that are going to cause them problems?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So the first one, and this is a very recent one, and I see this honestly ever since I've been in business for a number of years now. I've seen this at least, I would say, multiple times, and that one is that course creators just do not have any terms and conditions for their course. And I don't know why, but you guys really need to think about your course. If someone is purchasing from you, that's a business transaction between you and that person, and you have to protect yourself legally if you don't want to be, responsible for refunds, chargebacks, any of those exchange policies that you may have. You need to explain it very clearly, outline your terms and conditions. And most importantly, you also need to put notice in there to protect your intellectual property, because when you create the course, if it's original work, you haven't stolen from anybody else, then you are the copyright owner of that work. And then one of the ways that you protect it is with these terms and conditions. You put people on notice that just because they download your course, you need to specify how long they have access to it, what are the terms, how they can use the materials, whether they can, because you'll be surprised. So many people will resell and use your material and then create a course that will be a direct competition to you. And then I've also had someone recently, and this was like an expensive course, a $2,000 course, and she bought it, and then she wants the refund, and she's completely entitled to the refund because guess what? This course creator didn't even have a refund policy. So I have been on both ends of the situations where a course creator will reach out to me and be like, "Oh, we have this problem. Like, how do I handle this?" And I'm like, the easiest thing you could do is have terms and conditions. And then I also have people in my Facebook group. They're like, "Oh, we're not happy with this course. What can we do? Can I ask for a refund?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Just look at their policy. If it allows, then yes. If you're within the time frame, and then go ahead and request when you're legally entitled to it." So again, from both aspects, you want to make sure that both parties are on the same page. So don't make this mistake of not having terms and conditions. And because I know that it can be a little difficult to try to put all of these legal terms together yourself, and or to Google and waste a lot of valuable time. So that's where I have created a terms and conditions template that gives you every single thing from a course creator's point of view that you would need to have to protect yourself, and also honestly your students who are trusting you with all this information that you're providing.
Love it. Okay, cool. So with the terms and conditions, in that sense, obviously, let's say someone's selling an online course, they have a checkout page, they have a sales page before that. Where, like, how do you kind of incorporate, the terms and conditions into the funnel? You can kind of leverage, lean on that
Yes.
and be like, look, like, yeah,
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And that's a great question, by the way. You're asking all the right questions. So having terms and conditions is just one part of the two-part process. First, you need to, of course, have terms and conditions. Then you need to post them on your website and on your sales page in the footer section, typically. Okay, that's where you would want to post them so that on your website, it's always accessible. And then on the sales page, also in the footer section. Now, the second most important step, which everybody that trust me, a lot of people I know will miss this, and they have missed this. This is what is very important if you want to fight a refund claim or a chargeback claim, or you just want to basically protect yourself from any of these money losses. Then the second step is that when someone goes to purchase your course at the time of checkout, you need to have a legal consent from them. So you want to make sure that there's a click to accept option, whichever platform that you're hosting your course on or whatever you're using for product checkout. Make sure that there's a click to accept option at the checkout, which is going to legally bound them to your terms. And you would also need that as evidence if there's ever a chargeback situation. You can easily show that to the company, the credit card company, and refute it, because you can just say, "Hey, look, we have this policy. This is our policy." You would give the policy to them because they would require that as evidence. And then you would also be able to show your click to accept option screenshot. So this way you're protected. And this is one of the ways that you could easily fight it. And then, I also guide people like, hey, when it comes to these kinds of situations, like how do they fight the chargeback situation? So these are some of the things that, they have done, like my clients, and this is how they won those claims. But first, like I said, you need to have the policy, then you need to have an acceptance.
Okay, so did you say you have a policy template on your website? Is that right?
Yes, I have a terms and conditions template specifically tailored to course creators because I have so many course creators who wanted that. So I created a legal template which is just for them.
And quickly, where can people find it right now? Where they
Oh,
go?
yeah, great question. So if you just go to my website, aselfgrew.com, and which I'm sure you'll have the link in the show notes, and then you just go to the legal store page. That will give you all the different legal templates and bundles. And then one of them will be this one, the terms and conditions template for course creators.
Love it. Just to be clear, it's like if you have a funnel and you're selling a course, on the sales page, on the checkout page, in the footer, you should have some kind of terms and conditions, rights, all that kind of stuff, and obviously have the refund policy on, ideally on the sales page, but also on that checkout, like, on that point of purchase, before they kind of go to purchase, we need to make them check, "I agree to the terms and conditions," and then we can use
Yes.
that if Stripe or whoever else does a, like a
Yeah,
chargeback. Cool. Okay,
exactly.
I
Or
love it. I love
PayPal.
it. And
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
no, I want to. One thing I'm curious, and I want to jump in to this idea with you, is like the idea of, of these guarantees and these refund policies. So like I'm just curious from like a legal perspective. Obviously, it changes country to country, even state to state. But what, like, what are the limitations in terms of guarantees? Because I'm just saying, a lot of the courses that we work on right now, maybe it's the same with your digital products, but we try and do kind of action-based guarantees, where it's like if you, okay, as an example, let's say it's like start a digital marketing agency course, right? There could be a guarantee where it's like you have to send out 1,000 cold emails, and if you
Yeah.
do that and not happy with the results, you'll get your money back, as an example. So it's like, number one, is that like kind of legally binding? If that's in the terms and conditions and people check, I agree, is that enough to kind of like protect me if someone wants to like leave the course? Or what are my limits?
Yeah, no, great question. Because you're the course creator, the good news is that you get to decide what your policy should look like. If you wanted no refund policy, you could have a strict no refund policy. If you wanted a guarantee, 30-day money back guarantee, for example, or this one where there's an action that they have to take, you can dictate those terms because you're the creator. You get to set like what those rules should be. But of course, when you give any kind of an action item for them to do, it has to be reasonable. That's the standard, really. You don't want to make it, yeah, you don't want to make like something so difficult that the guarantee is just a false pretense or something. Like you want it to be realistic, you want it to be reasonable. So a lot of times what people will have guarantees like, okay, demonstrate that you've followed these steps in our course and then you still haven't received the results, then you're entitled to the refund within X number of days. And that's totally okay. So as long as it's very reasonable, related to an action step that they would have to take anyway as part of the course to receive the results being promised, then that's okay. But if it's like something totally outrageous, out of the scope, then of course that is not.
I've seen some of them before. I've seen pitch decks, like, some of the biggest courses in Australia. These guys doing, like, I think like $2 or $3 million a month. I got a little insider look at his pitch deck, and it's like the action items where, they kind of ran through them, and at the end they just cover them, and it's like 5,000 a day, 100 calls a day, and it's like, like no one's going to be doing this stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
very
which is
unreasonable.
wrong. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. So okay, when it comes to chargebacks, I'm kind of jumping around, but like a random question. So a lot of our clients and a lot of people collect payments on Stripe, right?
Yeah.
Usually for kind of lower ticket, products. If it's high ticket, usually it's direct transfer. Can you tell me the difference about kind of like chargebacks and refunds in Stripe versus maybe like a Chase Bank payment processor or something where it's like a bank specific?
Yeah.
Explain kind of the difference in terms of collecting payments and protection.
Yeah, absolutely. So what happens is, so you have a couple of options, right? Like if you use Stripe or PayPal, then you're
Mhm.
kind of bound by their terms when it comes to the chargeback evidence that you would have to provide, right? So if somebody files a chargeback claim, you as now the business owner has to provide a bunch of information to them, such as the receipt, right? You have to also provide your terms and conditions policy. You also have to also provide the fact that this customer accepted those terms. That's where that click to accept comes in, and a bunch of other things that they basically give you a list of things that you need to provide. And the more evidence that you give, the more likelihood of you winning the chargeback. So when you have a Stripe and then when you have a PayPal situation, that's kind of what you have to do. Now, the second example or the second part, what you asked about, like a direct relationship where there's a direct deposit to your account or maybe a direct chase transaction. The one good thing that you could implement to really counter these chargebacks is an electronic signature. So, for example, if it's a high ticket offer or something, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is, the amount, then you could always you can electronically send an agreement to the person, like outlining your terms, and have them electronically sign it, like their actual signature. So that's a very, very strong evidence against these chargebacks because now you got like an actual signature,
Yeah.
which is
Mhm.
very hard to argue versus
Mhm.
like, a click to accept situation. Make sense?
Cool. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll just add on that as well. Like in the high ticket courses that we're selling right now, usually, well, pretty much all the time, that's what it is. Where it's like, if you're on a sales call with someone like this, and it's like, okay, have like a contract template ready that has all the pricing, has the guarantee, get them to sign it on the call, and then kind of go into the payment or go into the
Yes.
deposit. So that's That is super important. And then obviously, like you said, if you're with Stripe, they kind of give you pretty clear steps, even though it doesn't always work out. It is pretty annoying.
It's
Sometimes,
50-50
Stripe.
chance, right? It depends on bank and how they
It,
evaluate. You never really have full control.
yeah. No, one of my friends' mums actually works for one of the biggest kind of like course creators on the planet. These guys are crushing, and she's kind of in charge of handling all the chargebacks. And they have like a
Yeah.
really, really good system where they have like a full kind of Google Doc, step by step dispute page that they just like copy and paste everything in. And apparently, kind of they win them all. However, I just want to say this is an excuse for creating a shit product. Do you know what I mean? We're not saying go out and get refunds and win. It's like, ideally nobody does chargebacks. That's the goal, but it is always going to happen. Some people just kind of don't even tell you, you know what I mean? And can kind of
Yeah.
try and yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, terms and conditions, having a contract, making sure that things are legal in the footer. One thing I want to speak about as well is actually protecting your course legally, because some of the biggest scaling courses that we have, even kind of like ones online, can be ripped off, right? Like
Yeah.
people can just like sign up, download them, maybe get a refund or whatever it is, and then post them online and sell it for $10, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure people watching yourself, maybe you got some DMs on Instagram from being like, hey, I saw you like this course, get it for $10. So how can people protect themselves from that happening? And if it does happen, how can they, fix it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have a couple options. One is that you could always register your course content, and protect it under copyright law. So, copyright law protects anything that you create in tangible form, such as your writing, your ebooks, your music, any of this stuff like course content as well. So, you could always register that officially, and that gives you the power to take legal action against. I mean, I know it's a lengthy process, but at least you have some sort of a recourse. If that ever happens, you could always sue them for copyright violation and get lots of money, because you will get thousands of dollars for violation. So that's one option. The second option is that you would obviously do what's called, takedown notice, Digital Millennial Act, DMCA takedown notice, or whatever, wherever they're hosting this, you would have to contact the hosting company, and you could also send them a cease and desist letter, which, by the way, I have a free template on my website, which will basically put them on notice and let them know that, hey, you violated our terms, you basically copied all our content, and you have this number of days to remove everything before we take legal action. So that's another weapon in your toolkit that you could use, and that does work sometimes. And then contacting the actual company where the course is being hosted, you should also file a copyright claim with them wherever it is that they're putting it on, and then they also have a legal obligation to now remove the copyright violated content from their platform. So the other thing is, but before you can honestly do all of these things, the basic foundation still stays the same, which is you need to have those terms and conditions, because if you don't have anything, then there's no way for you to even prove that this is your course, or that you gave anybody notice that they can steal your content. So first step is make sure to have all of those terms, because whichever platform or whichever legal weapon that you're going to use, or even a lawyer that you're going to hire, we're all going to ask you the same thing, that what are your terms, So first step is always to have those things, and then you have these other avenues that you could always explore for stolen content to get that removed.
Got it. Okay, so let me just recap it, because there was a lot there. So the first thing
Yeah.
is going directly to the seller and kind of, what was it, like a yeah,
A
sorry. So
cease
can
and
you
desist letter.
a cease and desist? That's right. I thought so. Okay, so
Yeah.
cease and desist. Then there's going to the actual website host
Yes.
itself, or the platform. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, host, platform, wherever it is, the content, because the content could even be on a website, it could be on a course platform where they're selling, right? So yes, you would have to also file a copyright claim with them online.
How would you file a copyright claim with them online? Like if it's a random website where it's like, cheapcourses.com or something, right? How would you find out kind of who to
Yeah, so
cease and
that
desist?
definitely becomes tricky. Like first, of course, you would do your research to find out where they are, or what this website is, or what their hosting company is. Then contact their hosting company. So you would have to do a little bit of legwork. But the good news is that there are companies out there that actually do help you with this kind of stuff, like getting stolen content removed. It does cost, of course, a little money, but that is also an option. So they do all this legwork for you, the research, right? So you let them know, hey, this is what's going on. This is when who stole my content. So they will go ahead and then basically, before you take legal action, before you hire a lawyer and spend thousands of dollars, that's also an option where you can go and have them figure out like how to get this content down, taken down.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. And if someone doesn't want to work with these lawyers and they want to do it themselves, with the website hosting, right, or the course hosting, is it just a matter of like sending a customer support email to their team, being like, hey, these guys are stealing copyright
Yes.
on your okay, and then hopefully they'll take it down. Okay.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And if it's like, if it's like a big platform, then they all have basically in their terms, there's even a section that
Mhm.
will say like, hey, if this is a copyright issue, like I'll give an example. I'm not saying that the course is going to be on Pinterest or Instagram, but I'm just giving an example that there are all these big platforms that will have actually a section in their terms for copyright violations that you could report. So just like depending on where this course is hosted, maybe Udemy or maybe somewhere else, like you can also see if there is an option. If not, then yes, contact the hosting company and then kind of go from there.
Got it. Okay. Cool. 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 And
And another thing,
mhm,
oh sorry, another tip I will give is that it's also a good idea to use watermarks in your, documents and stuff because that will make it kind of harder for them to copy, right? So try to
mhm.
also do your due diligence, make sure that every single thing that in your course, if there's something that they're downloading, a PDF or something, then make sure to have your website name on it. Make sure to have some watermarks. I mean, this is not to say that they can't just copy and create a new one, but at least your particular one won't be just shared. If it will be shared, then it will have your info on it.
Okay, cool, cool. Now, I just want to kind of like really drill into this. So if someone buys your course and they upload it and maybe it comes up on Google, right? If I search whatever, agency accelerator course, and let's say that's my course name, and kind of some free options come up if it's scaling and people are copying. If there's no okay, so I can just contact them through the website using some kind of cease and desist templates. And then if that doesn't work, go to hosting, message their hosting, same thing. This is what's wrong. And then if that doesn't work, potentially just go to an expert, like a legal expert, and try and sue the hell out of
Yes.
them, right?
Yes.
All right, so okay,
Exactly.
cool, cool. This is really, really helpful. This is great. I want to jump into a little bit about you and how you have used info products and digital products as part of your whole business. So tell me around, starting out, kind of like as a lawyer, kind of going solo on your own thing, and how these digital products came up, the story about creating them, and kind of how they're going so far.
Thank you for asking that question. So, initially, believe it or not, I thought I was going to have a business about self employment because I was going to just use one of my hobbies. I've always had this entrepreneur spirit in me. I used to be a model, then I became a teacher, and then I had my own side hustle. So, I just have a vast number of experiences and creativity in me. So, I thought I was going to have that kind of business. But then, as soon as I started the online business, I had a lot of people. So I was blogging, right? So I was sharing a lot of valuable information for free. But then a lot of, entrepreneurs just started asking me for one-on-one legal help. Hey, I don't have a privacy policy. Can you help me write one? I need a disclaimer for my website because I'm in a health and wellness niche or I'm in a personal finance niche and I don't want to get sued for something I'm publishing. So can you help me with that? Or I'm creating a course, and I don't have terms and conditions. Can you write it for me? So I was getting flooded in the sense like, and this is where I say that my audience found me, which is amazing. And I'm super grateful for. So that kind of, first I was doing it one-on-one, but then I realized that this is not practical because I can only help so many people one-on-one. But what if I just create templates, This way I can charge way less and it will give you the same lawyer level protection, but it will be an instant download. You don't have to wait on me a week or something. And you can get and it's like not even a fraction of the cost, of what it would cost to hire a lawyer like me. So I just thought that that was like a very good, affordable solution and something very quick. And we also offer free updates. So if there's any changes on the laws, I will do all that legwork for you for free because you purchased from me. So I just thought of that idea just out of the blue, and then we launched a bunch of website legal pages that everybody needs, like privacy policy, disclaimer, terms and conditions. And then as the business started growing, more and more people started asking for additional stuff, like, okay, what about if I'm hiring someone now in my business, I'm hiring a virtual assistant, like, what do you have a contract for that? Or if I'm working with a brand and they're paying me but I don't trust their contract, can you review it for me, or can you write one for me? So that kind of just honestly just started the whole thing. And then I started offering services, like where I could review stuff for people one on one if they wanted that option. But then I also have templates that gives you the same protection without, like, of course, depending on your budget, but it gives you the same level of legal protection and then very quick results, frankly.
Awesome. Yeah. And how has the results of these products been for you? Like, kind of how's it impacted your lead flow in your business and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean the good thing about my business is that it is diverse. So I don't just
Hmm.
only make money from legal templates or my services, although the bulk of it does come from that. I've been fortunate to have helped, over 50,000 entrepreneurs now with, working with me one-on-one or these legal templates. So definitely it has added a lot of value. The results have been great. We have, like, I don't know, like, we have thousands and thousands of, like, 5-star reviews. A lot of them, it's great, like, no complaints there. But I also focus on affiliate marketing, so all the products and stuff that I relied on to create my business online, I also, if
Hmm.
they helped me, I become an affiliate, so that's another revenue source.
Cool.
But overall, like, and then sponsorships, like working with brands. So the good thing about my business is that because I'm in the online space myself as an entrepreneur, I really understand, as compared to other lawyers who are just in a brick and mortar situation. Unlike them, I completely am within it with you. So all of these things that we talked about, courses getting stolen, I have templates, I have products, I have to worry about the same exact thing that you do. I have to worry about chargebacks just like you do, So I have to worry about, like, having privacy policy on my site just like you do. So all of these products that and same thing with contracts, that I've created. So everything that, when I create something, I am not looking at it from just a legal lens. I'm looking at it from a business standpoint as well, because these are things that I personally also use to help protect myself and my business.
Yeah, I love it. One thing I want to chat about as well is disclaimers and claims, right? So obviously there's like the FTC and all these kind of legal
Yeah.
regulations, and you can't go and say, I guarantee I'll make you a millionaire, right? So
Yes.
obviously this is a little bit of a gray line. We're going to be tiptoeing a blurry line, but kind of in terms of from a direct response and a copy perspective, even kind of testimonial perspective, what can we say, what can't we say, how does it work in terms of making claims and sharing information. I know there was a little bit of changes in some kind of FTC financial stuff, but I'm
Yeah.
curious kind of what you
Yeah.
think about that.
Yeah. Great question. So FTC stands for Federal Trade Commission. So that's the agency that regulates some of the things that we do online, such as including the privacy policies and that we're being. So the key to remember here are two things. One, you got to be transparent. And second, you can't be misleading or false in your advertising or anything that you're sharing, right? So this is where those claims where, oh, I guarantee this will happen. And then you'll see disclaimers that we're not promising anything. These are just used as examples. Why are they doing that? Because they don't want to get in trouble by the Federal Trade Commission. So these are things that you need to do. So anytime that you are going to be sharing information in your course, it's always a very wise idea, from not just from a Federal Trade Commission rules perspective, but also from a business perspective. You don't want to get sued for something that you're promising and then you don't deliver or it doesn't happen. And that can happen too. So that's why those disclaimers come in. Federal Trade Commission basically says that be honest, be transparent, and also don't be misleading and false in your advertising. And then if you have a financial incentive to gain by sharing something, for example, affiliate marketing, then you are also legally required to give affiliate disclosures under those rules. So for example, let's say, Lucas, I am an affiliate of your course and I want to share it and I'm going to get whatever percentage commission if somebody purchases from my link. Now I have a financial incentive for sharing your course with my audience. And same thing if you want to become an affiliate for my legal templates, same thing, vice versa. So, but before we start having that transaction and before we start sharing it, we also need to give affiliate disclosures, letting people know whether it's through an email that we're sharing or on social media or on a blog post. We need to disclose that this is an affiliate link and that you're going to gain some sort of a financial gain. And so usually the language is that, this email may contain affiliate links, which means that I will earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. See full disclaimer here. So that language is directly from the Federal Trade Commission's, guidelines, and it complies with that. So this way, if Federal Trade Commission can't come after you for saying that, hey, you didn't disclose, you didn't do your due diligence, because there's been a lot of influencers I know, a lot of people that have gotten in trouble for not disclosing. So they're just randomly posting on Instagram, they're randomly posting on YouTube, and they're not disclosing the fact that they're going to gain some financial incentive from this or reward from this. So they're just like, they have gotten in trouble with from the Federal Trade Commission for not doing that. So you don't want to ever do that. Same thing for sponsorships. Let's say a brand wants to pay you to create something, a video, post, or whatever. You need to disclose that it's sponsored, that it's ad, or that it's basically some way for your audience to be aware of the fact that this is not just a regular link, that you got something to gain from it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Totally, definitely. I love it. I love it. Maybe we can do a sponsorship. I can sponsor a self guru on this podcast. We can have a little ad for your templates. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd work really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Cool. I guess from like a legal perspective, or even just like a business perspective, when it comes to creating online courses and selling them, are there any other kind of tips or pitfalls or advice you would give to the listeners to help protect themselves? Yeah.
Absolutely. So you got to be very and we kind of briefly talked about it, but maybe didn't elaborate much. Was that you want to be very careful about testimonial release, like make sure to get testimonial releases from people that are giving you testimonials, because you don't want to be liable down the road for any kind of privacy violations or rights to their information, because of, after all, it's like public information, and if they didn't give you that that green light, then you could get into trouble. So what I do is, like, I have like a media release agreement that I have incorporated as part of my terms and conditions. So anytime, remember we talked about the click to accept. So anytime somebody goes and purchases from me, they've automatically given me the permission to be able to use their name and their testimonials and things like that in my business promotions. So you want to be able to, again, do that to protect yourself, because that could also lead to a legal violation. And even like when I have given testimonials, I'll give you an example. I was an Amy Porterfield student, and I remember that when I decided to give her a testimonial, she did it the right way. She sent me the testimonial release. I literally signed it. That's also a great option. Or if you don't want to go through the whole signature thing, then incorporate them into your terms and conditions. So this way you have some sort of an acceptance and proof that you're not going to be legally then later on liable for damages. So you want to do that. And then we talked about a little bit about guarantees and promises. Just always be very careful about what promises and what guarantees that you're making, because it can come back and bite you. So you want to be very careful with the language and make sure that if you are going to promise something, then it's real, that you are that you really, like, for example, you could say something like, I do promise that you will gain some valuable information. That's okay, but don't promise that, oh, I promise you're going to earn 5,000 out of this, that you don't have any control over, and you really can't genuinely promise that. So don't make guarantees that you can't fulfill. Protect yourself, cover your butt. And also, like, give those disclaimers, right? Like on the sales page, in the terms and conditions. And usually you want to say something like, hey, all of these testimonials, the results displayed are for informational purposes. These are just examples. We're not, individual results will vary, things like that. So again,
Cool.
so those are some of the things that you want to definitely keep in mind.
Love it. Cool. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. When you look towards wrapping up, that was like a great recap summary of a lot of the conversation, a lot of the gold bits. I feel like this is maybe not as sexy as Facebook ads or marketing on scale, but like this is like really, really important stuff, because like getting this wrong can literally ruin your business. You know what I mean? Kind of like, especially if it's something higher ticket and kind of you don't have proper protection in place, chargebacks and refunds and all that kind of stuff is going to hurt you. So I think it doesn't get spoken about enough. And obviously, you're killing it. You found an amazing niche. There's obviously a need there, which is why you're crushing. So I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much. And if
All
anybody
good.
wants a free legal guide that's going to walk you
Mhm,
through some of the other legal mistakes that
mhm.
you don't want to make in your business, we talked about terms and conditions. But if you have a business, there are a bunch of other things that you could also do wrong. Then I highly encourage you to get that free legal guide from my website as well.
Cool. And where exactly again do they go to find that?
Yeah, so I'd be happy to share the link with you, or if that you could share, or otherwise just simply go to aselfgrew.com, and once you go on my website, you will go under the freebies page, and you will just see the free legal guide as the very first one, and that's going to walk you through honestly the three most common legal mistakes that I see business owners, entrepreneurs making all the time. But it's also going to give you solutions so that way you can implement and protect yourself from the very beginning.
Cool. And that was aselfguru.com, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Amira, thank you so much for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. A lot of gold here. This was awesome.
Thank you.